Massey, Congresswoman Sparks, Congressman Fitzgerald, and Congressman Owens. Thank you for your presence here today. My pleasure now to yield 5 minutes to the gentlelady from Florida. You are now recognized, Ms. Demings. Thank you so very much for your service.
Well, good morning, and thank you so much, Madam Chairwoman. Thank you for the exceptional work that you are doing in this particular area. Director Carvajal, it's great to see you, and thank you for joining us. I just want to, first of all, just make it quite clear that we all understand that there are some people who need to be locked up. But we also understand that many of them will integrate back into society, and it is incumbent upon us to make sure that they have the training, tools, techniques that they need to be successful. We all understand that. Director, you spoke a little bit about Unicor and how successful it has been. Could you just talk a little bit more about that program and how we can even improve upon the success of that program? How can Congress be a better partner in helping those that will be coming back into society?
Yes, I appreciate that, Congresswoman. I think speaking about it and being able to support the program in and of itself, oftentimes we're criticized that we are taking jobs from the local communities. As I stated earlier, we have a board of directors who oversees that. It is a great program. The more that we can keep inmates, teaching them the trades and working. The other thing that I think that hits home is that we're teaching them the soft skills of reentry. Some of these folks have never had an actual job in a factory and punch a clock, so to speak. And they also are earning a decent living for being incarcerated. Part of that is paying their financial responsibility. A lot of them are able to help support their families. Again, teaching that soft skill, which is 50% of our mission, reentry. I have to stress that we want the same thing. We want people to go back to society as productive members of society, and we're committed to doing that. Half of our mission is keeping people safe and secure. The other half, which we're equally committed to, is making sure that they get the skills to go back and be productive members of the community.
Director, thank you for that. You also talked about in your opening statement some of the challenges that you have in terms of meeting staffing requirements, that you're being outbidded by other state and local organizations. Or agencies. I'm certainly sensitive to that. Could you talk a little bit more about, increased salaries is probably the answer, but could you talk about some of the other maybe creative ways that you are looking to not only recruit COs, but to retain them?
Yes, thank you, Congresswoman. Very, very much a priority for us. It always has been. Again, I stated earlier that there's a narrative out there that we can't hire. That's not true. We proved we can hire. We have several locations that are chronically difficult to staff. In those cases, as you stated, we have a hard time competing with local industry or other correctional agencies. We don't set the pay bands for that. OPM does that. We are working with the department on other types of incentives. We use recruitment and retention incentives. We use relocation incentives. All of those are things that we work with to get approval from the department and support going to OPM to be able to look at these areas. Some of the hard to staff places, as Congresswoman stated earlier, Beaumont. Beaumont is in the rest of U.S. pay scale. It's really hard to compete with local industry there when they frankly can get paid more working down the street. And that's one of the challenges. Beaumont is a great facility. I spent 4 years of my career there. So it's not the facility, it's us being able to compete with the location.
And Director, finally, I remember hearing some concerns about or centered around officer safety because of staffing shortages, where personnel that weren't necessarily trained as correctional officers, if you will, were being utilized in that capacity. Could you talk a little bit more about that? And if that's just a rumor, set all of us at ease about it.
Yes, Congresswoman, I absolutely appreciate the opportunity to set the record straight on here. First off, we would not put untrained people in there. We are very fortunate as a correctional agency. It's one of the things we pride ourselves on, that all of our staff are trained correctional workers. They receive the same training regardless of where they work. So we have uniformed staff that are correctional officers, and the nurses, the food service people, the teachers, everyone goes through the exact same training. That gives us the ability to utilize these staff safely. Okay, so that narrative is inaccurate when you hear it. We are challenged with staffing, and I'll tell you that we are funded at 90%. During my tour as director, our priority has been staffing. We have funded all of the positions that we get money for. As I mentioned earlier, at one point, I hired 1,000 over. My staff went 1,000 over. We're able to do that because our human resource know our attrition rate. So we try to get ahead of it, but it's a constant challenge. There's a lot of moving parts. It's a very large organization. 38,000 staff is a lot of people to keep track of.
Thank you so much, Director. Madam Chair, I'm out of time. I yield back. Thank you.